Hi, and welcome to another episode of Bespoke Architects Daily Pinup. I'm Nicole Walters, Director of Bespoke Architects, and I'm about to show you what inspiring images made our Pinterest boards today. Quite a small number of images today on the Pinterest inspiration board. To begin with, some wallpaper. I'm a real fan of wallpaper. I love the texture, the color, and the fact that we can do themes and that kind of thing. The link to this particular website did have some amazing examples of different type of wallpapers and applications. I picked this aqua blue one in a living room setting because I really like that color and the vibrancy of the bird in there. The space feels big, bright, and friendly, and the texture of the wallpaper actually looks to be like a shantung silk style of material. I actually have a dress in exactly that texture and color, so perhaps that's why I was so drawn to it. But I do really love that, and if you've got the high ceilings to sort of accommodate that gorgeous theme or situation that they've created on the wallpaper, I think it's really beautiful. And the pinks and sort of beiges in the one next to it. And another one that's really perhaps not as vibrant as the blue. Again, it's a living room situation. Again, the pattern and the motif are really, really large. So you do need those high ceilings to really make the wallpaper work properly. But I think it's got some really nice warmth to it with those pinks. And then the beiges sort of make it tamer than the blue one next to it. So I really liked those two wallpapers. I liked too the way that the blue one wraps around the room and can create that whole environment would look amazing with that scene, which was the word I was trying to find before. The scene created on that wallpaper kind of creates that jungle look. The pink one next to it, where we see it only on one wall, does kind of give us that impression that it would work really well as just a solo standalone feature wall. So I really liked both of those wallpapers. So that's why they're up on the boards. They are up on my materials board. Moving along this little project here, it was the clustering of these little pods. It's actually some accommodation, and each one of those pods is a bedroom. And I really liked the way that they've all got skillion roofs and they're all the same material, but the siding of them is such that we're seeing some really interesting some really interesting interplay between, negative and positive space, so built form and void, and then the way the skillion roofs are all interplaying with one another. I think that's just a really beautiful cluster of spaces together. This particular brewing company, I just really liked this canopy. It is on our Landscape Elements canopy board. Just as a lead-in to that entry, it does offer weather protection. It is, obviously, we can see the supports, but the spacing of those supports is really nice. So we've got one on each end and two in the middle. And then the canopy cladding itself, the thing that's keeping the weather off, is actually suspended from below those support structures. So it just looks really nice and elegant from underneath. And again, internally, they had some really interesting wall lights over in that far wall in that timber paneling. The way it kind of looks like part of the paneling I really liked the way that looked. And here's an outside image of that same brewing company. I just really liked the scale and proportion of this brick wall with this really high curtain walling in it. And then we see this little timber box next to it. This brick building with the glass actually reminds me of the Federal Mills in North Geelong. So there is a historical sort of reference to me locally that makes me attracted to this image, but I think also the balance, the way the windows are placed within those facades and the use of materials is the other thing attracting my eye. The newly built home, an ode to the mid-century modern, I pinned quite a few images from that. I really liked the way this carport was done. So we can see it is a carport. It is open to the weather outside. I can see natural daylight coming in, but it's that continuous ceiling that runs from the front of the image all the way through those highlight windows and inside. So it feels like the whole roof is spanning that area. Then we've got some slatted screens which divide sort of the person access point to that aqua door to the car parking space. and then the use of the brick up to that sort of dado height. It's just a really light and airy carport, and something a bit different to the traditional sort of garage structure. I mean, it's still offering weather protection for you to exit your car and get into the house without actually creating a contained box that then goes through an enclosed passageway to get into the house itself. So that was the appeal for that particular image. Internally, I really liked their kitchen layout. That's at the very back of this image. We can see it's got the fridge on one side, the sink in the middle of that back bench with a fixed glass window splashback, and then a wall oven sort of balancing that fridge in that back image, and then we've got a cooktop on that island bench. So just as a layout for a galley style kitchen, that's sort of the ideal working arrangement, I feel. So that's why that image made the board. I really liked their internal step treatment, and particularly they've carried through the bricks. We can see them here as piers, as a feature wall, and then they've used them as a planter box next to those stairs in the split level as well. So I really enjoyed that as a stairwell or a split level couple of steps. Their fireplace, again, I really liked that. We can see that it's that continuity of brick. So the brick that was in the carport is also featuring in all their internal rooms as piers and as dados, and in this room here, it's the feature wall for that fireplace to be in. So it's just a really nice continuity of brick that I really like. And that was all the images of inspiration for today. A very small day, like I said at the beginning. If you are looking for more mid-century inspiration though, please do check out Bespoke House for the golf course house. That too is an ode to the mid-century, and you will see some of the same colors playing in that house, as well as bricks internally in this house as well. So well worth checking out. Do check it out. There are pins up on Pinterest, and there is a video up on Pinterest, YouTube, and Instagram. Thanks so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on another episode of Bespoke Architects Daily Pinup.